Well, speaking of The Sopranos, sad day for everybody across the country when the show ended.
Yeah.
What's your take on the ending?
I got the ending. I really got the ending. And here's the one thing that I'll say about it. Is that, you know how most people, when it went to black and it was at the end of the show, and the show ended, the great story that I heard the next morning was anyone and everyone yelled at who they were with at home. This is your fault. You broke the TiVo. You broke the cable. You didn't pay the bill. I hate your mother. And people got into great heated arguments over the show. Not the show, but they were so caught in the moment that they yelled at their spouses. So many people told me the story that they yelled at their spouses.
But I have to be honest, I think it's no shock to anyone that I was like, what did you do?
You see? Okay.
Or you thought the cable went out and we thought this cannot be happening.
Right, at this moment in time, right. And I have to say that I got out with everything intact because I didn't yell at my wife while we were watching
Did she yell at you?
Not at all. No, I actually lucked out. And I had the fortunate, little cute moment 2-3 days ago. I was standing right behind Edie Falco.
Get out.
Yeah.
Where?
At this little event in New York City. So we're trying to both leave, and there's no, you're stuck in an aisle, so you have to say something. And I just whispered it in her ear. I says, I got the ending. And I says, I'm sure you've heard that 100,000 times, but she's, she was very polite, and we talked about it. And so I thought the ending was great.
So do you want to tell us what you think your take is on it?
Actually, the point is that he couldn't have satisfied everyone, so why satisfy anyone? Did you read the blog that accompanied the ending?
I did.
Which I found to be so incredible that somebody has that much extra time on their hands.
Do you blog? I do not.
No, I don't know any of this nonsense, but somebody sent me that, and I finally got around to reading it reluctantly because everyone on the plane was talking about it. And I read it, I thought, wow, this makes a lot of sense. I just want to leave it where it was. I don't know if he got whacked. I don't want to know if he got whacked. In my head, it was perfect.
I was real happy with that, too. And I was happy to see that there was the regular guy, the guy that's from the pizzeria in Philadelphia, that is the guy that walks by in the members-only jacket. I thought for a long time, we thought it was the guy that from the Pine Barrens that they never knew if he died.
Right.
And then we come to find out that it wasn't.
No.
It's just
it was cool. It was cool.
I know. It's hard, though, to see it end. I'm still watching the reruns.
I'm okay with it. I can let go.
You can let go of it now.
Yeah.
Well, I wondered if you might want to play a little game with me today.
All right.
And that would be pick the bandmate, match the bandmate to the Sopranos character. If I give you a Sopranos character, can you tell me which one they're most like, whether it's you or any of the guys? Can we play that game?
Okay. I'm trying.
All right.
Okay.
Silvio.
Yeah, that's already the first one I think of. And there's great qualities that Richie has with Silvio, but Tico has the mannerisms.
Really?
Oh my Lord! I swear sometimes they're the same. Those two, Steven and Tico hanging out together it's quite funny. So yeah, that's a tough one because it's a little bit of both Richie and T.
Bobby.
I would tend to think that's probably more in the David kind of category. Yeah.
Bobby was such a sweet.
Yeah, just a sweet guy that did what he was asked and, was loyal to the end. And, yeah, Dave.
Uncle June.
Well, I don't know, June.
Yeah, that probably wasn't a good one for me to say because June started out strong and then
he lost his marbles.
He was disloyal, and that's really none of you guys.
No,
Janice.
We don't have one of those either, thank God.
Big T.
Well, I guess I'd have to be the boss, Somebody's got to be the quarterback on the team.
Speaking of quarterbacks, how are things going in Philly? How's the team doing?
Not as bad as it could have been and not as good as it should have been. So, the Arena Bowl was this past weekend, and, I'm not there. So we made the playoffs again, which was fine, but not, we're still like everyone else, ringless, just ringless.
Well, you got to keep cracking.
Yep, keep at it.
So what, I wanted to ask this because I saw it in People magazine today, and certainly I don't compare you guys to Poison, but when I was growing up, you guys were coming up at the same time, and Bret Michaels had a quote, and he's on some reality show now and trying to find a lady, and his quote was, being a rock star is the reason for the absolute destruction of every single one of my relationships. And You certainly have not had that happen. Most of the guys have been pretty lucky, not only in your romantic relationships, but in your own relationships with each other. How has it been that after all this time, you guys really avoided a lot of the pitfalls that happen to a lot of great bands?
And there's a number of really, smarter reasons that I can give you in a longer discussion. But the truth of the matter is we didn't live in that fishbowl of Hollywood. We didn't play anyone else's game. We were from New Jersey and stayed from New Jersey. So there was no Joneses to keep up with. Mm-hmm. And the cliches of rock stardom, if you will, what nonsense that is. A career is not 1, 2, 5, or 10 years. It's 25 years of making music that's, contemporary, not nostalgic. And so, that was the goal here, not to be a rock star, but to be a working musician making records that were contemporary.
I do want to talk a little about keeping up with the Joneses with your own kids, but I want to get back to talking about Lost Highway and some of the great stuff that's on here. I want to ask you about Seat Next to You.
Yeah.
Who is the young lady that is singing with you?
Her name is Hillary Lindsay, and you may know her name because she's a songwriter in Nashville. Mm-hmm. And she collaborated on that song with Richie and I. We met her down there, and we sat around and just started yapping and strumming away and came up with this song together. And she co-wrote Jesus Take the Wheel. So she was one of the 3 writers on that song. And I said, you should sing the harmony because, as we were writing it, we were singing. And she goes, oh, yeah. But who are you going to get to sing the harmony? I said, no. Yeah. You should sing the harmony. And she got so excited about it because I've been pushing her, trying to get her to be an artist in her own right because she's great looking, great singer, good songwriter.
She's got the whole
package.
Think
so, yeah.
Well, it sounds great. I mean, it was one of those cuts that really stood out for me that I went looking and going, is this a duet? Who's doing this?
Hillary Lindsay is just quite an accomplished songwriter, a sweetheart of a girl.
Our boys Big and Rich on the party anthem for this one. We got it going
on. My country cousins.
I'm afraid to ask what kind of party was happening with those two.
We've had quite a few. John just left word just the other day. He calls me, I'm his rock and roll relative. You see, country cousins and rock and roll relatives. He goes, relative? I'm in Napa Valley. I don't get up here to this California too often. Can you recommend some places to sip some wine and dine, or the way he puts it, in that great accent of his. And so, we give him a little, cheap culture and tell him where to go and get soused. But one of the most dynamic duos, interesting characters, incredible collaborators, and I think the greatest compliment I could pay them is I hope I'm friends with them in 20 and 30 years from now. I really do hope that we maintain a real honest-to-God friendship because I have that much respect for them as people.
Well, and I think being in the music mafia, those guys, they've got their own brand of loyalty with a twang to it that they're very much like you guys to me. Look,
I've promised them all kinds of things, and we're doing 10 nights at our arena in Jersey, the new place, and I have Big and Rich doing 2 of the nights. I have Gretchen doing 2 of the nights. So we're trying to help take the mafia to another place too, and grow on what they're doing. The international mafia, I guess. We'll start taking them across the pond and try to expose our audience to what it is how great they are.
For people that aren't going to get to see the soundstage, or at least not Monday, do we know when it's going to be airing?
It's early this fall. It's October or November. It's going to be really soon.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so is there a lot of rehearsal involved?
None.
Like people think you go out for an hour, you do your hour and you come home.
It's just about that.
Really?
Because we've been doing these promo things, we're pretty well greased already. I mean, we don't rehearse. I never understood the concept of a band of our caliber going to these rehearsal places for 3 months. You got to be out in front of people. That's the only way you're going to go and mess up. If you're looking at your fingers and you're reading the lyric sheet, that to me, I don't get it. So we go out and we do a handful of one-offs. And so we know all the songs. So we'll walk in, get the camera blocking, and Sunday night and Monday shoot it.